It's episode 3, Grant. We're moving into the middle of this sit and go, and
look at that, by the way.
Yeah, look at that.
That's the old Terminator we know and love. The huge V-pip, meaning, of course, voluntarily put in pot. How frequently he plays hands.
It's in play, actually, but close enough.
Well,
close enough.
Monumental with the whatever P it is.
Yes, either way, that's true. First place for this sit and go, $5,000. Second place is $2,000. And third place, you get your money back, you get your $1,000 back. Everyone else goes home a little bit poorer.
And Action Aaron has already gone home a little bit poorer.
Yes, and hopefully his ego wasn't as bruised as his chips.
His
Does
chips
that make sense?
No, not at all.
The felt that his chips were on because it got scraped.
We got a 3-bet here. Jake is going to use his stack to bully the table. Kerry with a reasonable open with a queen 10 suited. Queen Jack usually plays as a call, but Jake's deciding Kerry can't really continue with a lot of hands as the stacks are.
Jake with that smile. He's in sit and go mode.
Is that the sit and go smile? Is that something?
That's the I just won a pot I probably shouldn't have smile. It's always nice.
I mean, he did have the best hand.
He had the best hand, but he didn't know it.
He thinks Kerry folded aces, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he thinks Queen Jack off is doing very poorly against. Even Kerry's folding range is not doing very well, right?
I don't know if I agree with you.
Really? Kerry's opening a lot of Jack highs and worse Queen highs?
Sometimes. I mean, there's
10
antes.
highs.
There's antes. It's 200, 400.
Kerry was
with
under
a
the
50.
gun. He was under the gun.
It's a high ante ratio, sort of.
I'm just saying. Most of Kerry's range there is way ahead of Queen Jack.
Mitzvah not opening the suited queen on the button. We've seen this repeatedly happen when it folds to Taylor in the small blind. He has not been raising against Digital Dan, just calling.
He has yet to have a traditional raising type hand, but he's also, as we see, not bluffing. He's not really doing anything. He's just sort of chilling out, playing out of position and not pushing it.
He
this
does have
is
a
reasonable
gut shot.
time to bet, though, for Taylor.
It's not going to get through, as Dan has bottom pair here.
Hard to believe Dan would ever fold here for one bet. The question is, will Taylor take one more shot with 5 high on the river, assuming he misses?
It'll probably work. Oh, I don't know if it'll work now. That's a bad card. It's a really bad card for Taylor to tell a story here, and I think he's going to give up.
Taylor would be repping aces full of queens if he bets, and that's it. And Dan, I would think, would just have to find the call.
Hey, he's doing it.
Doesn't Dan just have to call here?
That's an exactly half-pot bet, which I like the sizing as representing aces full of queens. I just don't know if it's going to work.
Dan's hand is just a little too good. I don't think Taylor would be trying to move Dan off a full house here. I think he's trying to move Dan off worse hands like king highs and things like that.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if Dan's even calling the turn with king high in practice.
That'll teach Taylor to limp a small blind.
That's
Just
right.
Raise and win that thing.
Yeah, would have worked probably.
I don't know. The digital one can be stubborn, but probably not in that moment.
Guess what? If he raises, he bets twice. It's going to work. I'll tell you what.
You told me.
I did. I told you what.
What?
What?
I'll tell you what.
Let's have some whiskey.
All right. Now we're partying. That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll have some Doctor Who.
Hey, you guys tweet at us if you want us to do an episode drunk.
What?
I'm not saying it's... Hey, Action Aaron's coming by to say, hey.
Action Aaron wants everyone to be drunk. Terminator with a reasonable hand here. Look how far he's fallen, though. He was the chip leader by a lot
He
not
had
too long
something
ago.
like 27K not too long ago.
He's played a lot of hands. It has not worked out for him. But, revitalization is but one flop away, as they say, Grant.
Yeah. And Joseph folds a reasonable hand in the big blind again.
Yep.
Although it was 3x that time.
He still had, the blinds are 200, 400, right?
Yeah.
So he had 21 blinds. It's reasonable to fold queen 10 against Randy's open, of all people. That's a guy you could consider calling with. But this is, of Joseph's folds in this sit and go, this is the least egregious of them, I would say. He's had at least two ones that are seem worse.
He's been what I would consider overfolding pre-flop once he got short.
I agree. He's overvaluing his tournament life. Basically, since he made that play against Kerry where he check raised and then gave up on the turn.
Yeah, with the king 9 suited.
Yeah, he picked up the straight and flush draws and then check folded instead of moving in. Ever since then, nothing's worked for him. I guess he hasn't won a pot this entire time still, right?
I think he must have won a pot by now.
Oh, maybe he won one. I think he won one. Look at that face
of
unhappiness.
Look at the hand Kerry has. How about instead?
Yeah,
2 queens.
And he's gonna flat here. I like it, especially against Taylor, who's a pro who's gonna fold a hand just like this, ace 8.
Right, and Kerry is probably not going to do this against any other player at the table. Taylor and Kerry know each other's game very well. They both play well, and Kerry wants to protect his flatting range against Taylor.
Yep.
This is a holistic strategy from Kerry.
Kerry, of course, has to call with his under-repped hand and a reasonable calling hand, although that's not the greatest board.
Spade is pretty good for Kerry, usually.
Taylor checks it back. Kerry's got to love that.
Kerry has a lot of spades in his range, so Taylor knows that's not a good card for him to continue on.
Now,
Kerry,
this is an interesting spot here.
He
doesn't have to. He could check to give Taylor a chance to fire away there, because when Taylor checks the turn, he often doesn't have big flush draws.
True, and if Taylor was worried about Kerry having spades, a lot of Kerry's spades are going to be hero calls on the river if Taylor bets.
Yeah. So I think a check is probably optimal there for Kerry, but I understand he has the second nuts white. It's not crazy to bet or anything. But Taylor's going to bet all the hands he's going to call, almost all the hands he's going to call with anyway, I think. Well, it's some of them.
I don't know, seven.
Not all of them.
Like the 7 high flush.
Yeah, he's going to check. But like the jack and the 10 high flush, he's going to call.
Yeah.
Or going to bet those. I don't know if you heard that. Taylor actually said he's going to. He would have made a big bet if Kerry had checked. Now,
did he?
Yeah. So
he might just be trolling.
He might. Although that's the kind of board he really might have done that.
Yes.
Because it looks like Kerry has one pair, and you can get him off it on that spade board.
Scarf corner, looking scarfy. We should have an online Etsy store called Scarf Corner, where we sell the scarves worn by Scarf Corner.
Wow, it's an incredible idea. Here we go, Joseph. He has a hand. Looks like he is going to raise the trays. I don't know if anyone's won with trays. Oh, he's going to limp with trays. Okay.
By the way, the blinds went up either last hand or this hand.
Must have just
it's
gone
250, 500 with a 75 ante now.
So Joseph had 18 blinds and limped threes on the button. I don't love it. Let's see if he can just win this pot, though. This is a very winnable pot for him right now.
That's a spot where some players will just ship 19 blinds.
Yeah. I think that's better than limping it.
Probably a little bit.
Unless you're trying to induce Kerry to raise, and then you're going to ship over him.
I like that play, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how often Kerry's actually going to raise, though, but Joseph's going to get to win.
Let's see the look of relief.
It just took a little longer than it should have, but he gets to win.
Yep. Does not win a very big pot.
I mean, it feels like a big pot to him, probably. The antes and blinds just went up.
Yeah. It helps.
Look how happy he is.
You just got to win like 30 more of those, and you'll be back to starting stack,
Pure
buddy.
joy on the face of Joseph. It makes me feel warm and
cherubic.
happy.
He's cherubic right now.
I wouldn't call it cherubic. I think cherubic implies a level of mischief, and I don't feel like Joseph is a mischievous.
That is ridiculous. Cherubic is not.
You really want to go this route again?
No, it went so badly for me last time. This is, of course, from the cash game.
Yeah, we don't want to have vocabulary wars anymore, do we, Levy?
I lost a bad one. I was very arrogant about it and lost. That's the cliff notes on that. Anyway, Mitsev opens, ace-10 suited.
Beautiful hand.
Yep, I like his sizing. 1.2 feels just right. See if Kerry 3-bets this.
Yeah, yes. I prefer 3-betting to calling for sure.
And you can see this just puts Mitsev in a tough spot right away.
He's basically
didn't look too tough, actually.
They're barely deep enough that this call is all right. But
I don't know if it's all right considering the depth of
it's
stack.
Borderline threatening Mitsev stack when Kerry does this.
Look at stack to pot ratio here. We have ace-10 off. Ace-10 suited. I don't think we can call.
Kerry's just going to get to win with aggression here. Well, Mitsev hasn't folded yet.
He is turtling, half turtling. If he makes a play on this, then I take back everything I said, because that means he's going to have moves. He's at least considering a play. So
I think
give him some points there.
I think it's a bad idea to make a play there.
Yeah.
Against Kerry's 3-betting range.
With also, we don't even have any back doors. We got nothing going on there. So I agree. I think that probably plays better as a fold or a 4-bet for Mitsev pre-flop, where you take your hand and you turn it into a bluff, and you hope, and you have some equity against everything that calls you, basically. So usually somewhat reasonable equity, unless he's got aces.
It kind of stinks to go for it for about 30 blinds with ace-10, though.
Yeah.
Although Kerry is one of the lighter 3-betters at the table.
But as soon as you're calling, like, to the point where the pot is almost as big as your stack anyway, you just put yourself in these spots where you lose too often.
Yep.
So
I agree. You have to flop pretty well to continue.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes with any 2 Broadway card flop as like a semi-bluff with a gut shot.
I mean, maybe there's a lot of flops he is going to make plays at, and then it maybe makes it okay. Where he's going to check raise all in just a lot of the time. Jake probably not going to play this one.
Maybe he just knew he was free rolling the next hand. He was going to get a walk, and it's okay to just toss 3,500 into the ether.
Mitsev gets to show he had Jake pipped both cards.
Pipped.
Yep. 1 up. Pip.
Now, when you say pipped, it makes me think. When I look at Jake in his outfit here,
Yeah.
I feel like his name could be Pip.
Huh. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to say. Who is named Pip these days, by the way? Like, where in the world do people get named Pip?
Just Lord of the Rings, I think.
Oh, Lord of the Rings, and maybe like if you're like a prep school boy from the 1930s, something like that. Maybe even a little bit later.
You're like
Captain, my Captain.
You're like the second child of a wealthy family, and nobody's really that excited about your prospects.
Surely one of the characters in Dead Poets Society was named Pip, right? Sure.
Yeah, obviously. Okay, Terminator's going to limp the Jack 7 of hearts here. He just wants to play hands.
Yep.
He just loves playing hands.
He's got that ever-decreasing stack.
And the ever-increasing V-pip.
And he's ever dominated by both players.
Yeah, although the 8s are pretty... Well, Taylor's probably going to win this hand.
Yeah. He does check. Is Terminator going to take a shot? No, he just checks it right back. He's playing for the value of his hand. Taylor has won the hand.
I'm going to say Taylor is not going to fold.
I like Taylor checking here to try and give someone a chance. Let's see if Terminator pays off. It wouldn't be absurd.
I don't think he will. It's not. It's pretty low in the distribution of hands we can have here.
Yeah. Would Taylor bet a 7? That's the question. He might think a 7 was the best hand, but would he bet
I don't think he's going to bet a bad 7. Like, if there's a borderline that includes a 7, it's probably something like King 7.
Terminator makes a nice fold there. Now, he didn't have to be in this position at all, but he does make a nice fold and preserve that stack. His stack is getting pretty low. You can't just be calling off in these marginal spots for, another 20% of your stack.
Right. All limps with hands like Jack 7 suited, they hurt you post-flop a bit in cash games, for sure. Over time, that's going to erode your profit in a cash game, but in a setting like this where your stack preservation is so important, it can be kind of a bigger deal to limp hands like that.
I agree. Especially if you're not going to take shots. Like he was playing it seemingly for the value where he check, flop, check, turn. If you're going to limp it and everyone checks you usually kind of have to bet it to make that worthwhile.
Yep.
So Terminator often does, by the way, bet it. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he just thought that was a better flop for the blinds than for him.
Well, it's also he's aware of the tournament setting, and I think he bets it in a cash game and maybe not here.
Terminator's playing every hand now. I mean, this is obviously a playable hand, but with his stack, it's not that playable.
Not really. I guess you could open to fold it.
Yeah, you could do that. Digital Dan, are you going to check? I think he's going to check.
Yeah.
Digital Dan, this is a great spot to raise.
Well, you don't want to get 8K in against Terminator. He is the type of guy who might have a limp raise in him there.
I mean...
Well, look at that flop.
That's a pretty good flop.
He's not going to get any action, I don't think.
Well, you say that, but now Terminator decided, you know what? This is the kind of flop I can take a shot on. It's not crazy, but Digital Dan has a real hand.
All right, so does Dan move in? Or
looks like he
just,
did.
He already moved in,
I assume Terminator's already folded.
Yep.
That happens super fast, and Terminator's got to be feeling...
You just can't win a hand at this point. It's frustrating.
He was going to lose that one no matter what. If he raised that, Digital Dan was going to call, Terminator's going to c-bet, and then Terminator's going to lose even more.
Yep.
So... that worked out, I guess, if he's going to play the hand. He lost near the minimum. I don't know. It's the best silver lining I can put on that cloud.
By the way, you keep seeing Nitrogen Sports. The winner of this tournament gets a free $100 sports bet from Nitrogen Sports.
That's pretty good. That's just another reason to preserve your stack.
It is, and you can preserve your stack, by the way, on Nitrogen Sports yourself. There's a link in the description of this video you're watching here. Use that to sign up. You can play exclusive tournaments that are Poker Guys exclusive tournaments.
Yep. Every month we have a tournament that is very, very low buy-in, very big purse, always an overlay. You can definitely get involved in that too. And that's just by using the link in the description when you sign up.
Jake's going to open the Jack 10 off here. He's going to start using his stack to bully the table.
Yep.
Is
Digital Dan
call here?
I don't think he is.
That's a good fold.
I agree. And this is the difference. So
Joseph just folded kings, by the way, probably.
So Terminator's doing a lot of limping here. Now he's got a shorter stack, so it's a tougher spot. But he's doing a lot of limping, and people are out flopping him, or even just have the better hand. Jake doesn't have to worry about that. He raises, and he gets the same hand to fold, and doesn't give people a chance to outflop. And the blinds and the antes are worth winning.
Yep. It's my opinion that if there's a time to limp, it's not when there are significant antes that you can win by raising.
There might be, maybe if you've got a particular dynamic at the table or something like that.
Sure.
But in general, I agree, certainly. Especially in a sit-and-go format.
Yeah.
Like
you're going for first place here. You want to collect all them chips.
You certainly can have a limping strategy in a multi-table tournament where ante's come into play and you're still limping, I think, and that can work where people are deep and stuff like that. But this is not that.
Well,
Taylor with
that's
a hand.
That's a good one.
See if anyone picks up anything to fight back with here. Not the digital one. Not Joseph.
Well, Taylor can never hope for action from Joseph at this point.
Joseph is really taking his time.
If he had
That
moved
was
in with
weird.
the 9 deuce, that would have shocked me to an extreme.
Yep.
Carry definitely with the calling hand here.
Yep. Wisely calls. If he puts in a 3-bet, it's awkward stack size. He may have to lose a bet here, though.
Maybe. I don't know. It's not a great flop for 6s.
It's not a bad flop for 6s.
I would fold, I think.
I think I'd call once. And carries with me.
All right. You wouldn't carry.
Yep. That's a pretty good flop.
It's okay.
The jack is the only card that's a problem.
It's
Now,
just-
both players have a spade in their hand. Taylor could reasonably bet or check.
I don't think Carrie's too thrilled about his spade.
No, but it could be a bailout kind of card. See, now that Taylor bets again, I don't think Carrie's
Did
gonna
he
call.
move in? Oh,
No.
he said 3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this. I think Carrie played that great. I like Taylor's bet on the turn where he just knows he's not folding because he's got the ace of spades in his hand. And Carrie realizes that even though there's a chance he still has the best hand, when Taylor bets again, it's a bad sign. Taylor's going to check back a lot on the turn. He's seen him do that.
Yeah.
So I like that fold by Carrie. Sussed it out.
He did the sussing. I would have lost 1,200 less than you in that hand, by the way.
Well,
That would have been awesome.
if Carrie had called the turn, maybe he would have rivered a 6 and won all the monies. But
I didn't even think about that.
I know you didn't. I can tell.
Man.
As you like to point out, sometimes you can be ahead and still lose.
I don't think that's true.
Well, we'll get our Twitter people on that. Our Twitter researchers.
Yeah, we need to.
They exist.
We need to look into the Encyclopedia Britannica for that one.
Digital Dan folding ace 4 in the cutoff. It's a little bit of a loose
Looks like
fold.
Carrie's just moving Terminator in here.
Yeah, it's perfect. Terminator, there's nothing to do with fold, buddy. You got too many blinds. You cannot call with 8 high.
Yeah,
There you
still
go.
over 10 blinds.
I know it hurts, but you gotta fold there. Good job. Terminator likes being the guy firing the bullets, not the guy trying to dodge them.
Yep,
But
and it looks like Jake's really separated himself from the pack, and nobody else is quite close to him.
Yeah, Terminator really low, but Joseph also only at 17 blinds. These guys gonna have to make some moves kind of soon, especially Terminator. Joseph has a little bit of time, but Terminator, he's got like an orbit or two before it's time to get swifty with those chips.
Yes. Show me what you got.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see if the rest of the table adjusts to the fact that the Terminator has a shorter stack. Taylor's raising this, I think, with the knowledge that he's definitely calling off.
Yep, against either Joseph or Terminator. Although against Joseph, it's a bit bad.
Yes.
But I think you still have to, probably.
I don't know. Joseph's been so tight. I don't know if you do.
Jake's going to set mine here, I imagine.
Well, I don't know if it's just set mine.
No, he's also going to call on good flops.
Yeah, like a Jack 8-4 flop.
Yeah, perfect flop.
Like, that's a pretty good flop.
It's fine.
Taylor checks it right back. That's nice if you're Jake. You got to love that card. You could very reasonably bet as Jake here.
I imagine Jake will bet.
What are you losing? You're losing to 8s. You're losing to pocket 7s. And you're losing if Taylor decided to slow play a monster, which I wouldn't expect him to do on that board.
Not usually, no.
So, Taylor's going to... Is this call? Interesting.
There are a lot of draws out there.
There are. Huge amount.
That's
And
one of them that got there.
Let's see if Taylor checks this back, because I assume Jake is going to check. Yeah.
Taylor
Yeah.
might feel obligated to bluff once Jake checks here.
Right. I mean, now it looks like maybe Jake has an 8. Taylor can easily represent the spades. He is.
He's also repping a king. Now, there's a king of spades on the river here. It doesn't show on your graphic there.
Everything that's happening there is wrong. Taylor did not raise. There we go. But Taylor bet, and Jake does find a call. Nice job,
That's
Jake.
a nice call by Jake.
He realizes that Taylor's probably not going to bet a king on the river because Jake can have a 9 and check the river.
True.
So it's just spades. That's all he has to worry about. Taylor doesn't have to have spades.
Taylor can rep spades pretty well there, though.
Yeah.
Because he didn't bet the flop. He bet the turn. Or he called the turn.
No, absolutely. Often he's going to bet his draws on the flop, his
Yeah.
hearts and his straight draws. Still, the only thing you have to dodge really is a spade there.
Yeah.
Right? Unless Taylor was getting tricky with 2 kings and he made a full house on the river.
Right.
Or he checks on that board because it's like, well, that board's in theory better for your range than mine, so I check. That's a Batiste kind of check. But Batiste ain't here.
No.
Anyway, that's a nice call by Jake. Good hand by both guys, actually.
Batiste is at the denim shop. And the type of denim shop Batiste goes to is spelled with 2 P's and an E at the end of shop.
Of course, that makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
to me. Here's Joseph with the real hand. He is going to come in for a raise like that. He would have had a problem if Terminator moved in. I guess he was probably going to be forced to call, which would have been brutal.
It's a real poopy spot there.
Maybe you'd have to get the numbers and find out the exact stack size and make a decision. Mitsa does have to call here.
Yeah.
We'll have to strong, but he's going to call.
His hand plays well enough post flop. It's a good price.
Absolutely. 700 to win 2.5. Easy call. And now
Joseph's going to win.
Joseph might just make a big bet here, like an all-in type bet, just to not even have to think about it. I don't think he needs to. I think he should bet normal and then call off, but it looks like that's what he's going to do.
Right. Fold equity is valuable, but in this format, you'd like to get it in with a hand like that when you flop that well.
Especially with Joseph's stack,
yeah,
where winning a small pot is fine, but a full double is just so valuable. You have to be willing to gamble right now. So I like that play by Joseph. Seems like Joseph realized limping with pocket threes on the button, maybe not the play.
Hey, it worked out. What are you talking? He won the hand.
He did win the hand. He won more this way, though, by raising.
I mean, you say that, but you don't know what Mitzvah would have done.
I know everything about what Mitzvah would have done.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't realize that.
No, I get that. You can't know everything. Digital Dan, he didn't play his 4 off before. Ain't going to do it under the gun.
That's the stuff.
Yep. Terminator, this is the hand.
He's all in. That's a good spot for a shove.
Absolutely. Perfectly reasonable. 9.5 blinds. Looks like it's going to get through. Taylor's got a decision. What do you do here if you're Taylor? I think I might fold. What do you think? It's close.
It's very close.
He calls.
He calls. I think it's probably correct to call, but it's very close.
Terminator hasn't done this yet. He's yet to shove. So
but he hasn't
been
down to this many blinds yet.
Yeah, but he's been around 10 for a little while.
Good flop for Taylor.
7 or an ace would end it. Well, now he just has to dodge a king or a jack. He does, and the Terminator has been put to rest.
It's a sad day.
R.I.P.
Sad day we lose Action Aaron and Terminator as the first 2 exits. That's a bit too bad.
Jake looks pretty sad. He's going to be all by himself there in the corner.
I mean, it's like when you're part of a group and you feel you're pretty cool because people are like you, and everybody's like, those are the scarf guys. Now he's just by himself.
Yeah, Jake's like, I did not speak when they came for the first guy with the scarf. And now there is no one left to speak for me.
Yep.
When they came for me.
That's well said.
Thanks. Jake, loves quoting stuff.
That's a really good Holocaust reference on Poker Time.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I feel like I'm supposed to apologize to someone. I'm not sure who. I am Jewish, if that helps. All right, Jake here. Thinking about
definitely raising.
Yep.
He's got 30K now. First guy to breach the 30K mark. And I think he's just gonna get to win this pot.
Yeah, Digital Dan doesn't need to defend with a hand that crappy, and he doesn't.
You don't need to be so derogatory towards the hand. I mean,
I feel I do.
It has its merits.
The hand may not know how bad it is.
And you think it needs to know?
It needs to be informed.
Yeah,
I'm doing it very publicly.
The hands get to watch this. You have to think about their emotions.
Yeah. I don't think about anyone's emotions. That's part of my strength. It's part of what makes me great.
And by great, I can just interchange that with sociopath? Is that?
I mean, if you think that's a weakness, that's on you, bro. All right, Kerry's going to open under the gun.
We don't know what with. King Jack.
We do.
King Jack, I knew it. Felt like a King Jack type open.
We're getting a little bit shorter now. We're down to, 6 players. And Joseph, I guess Joseph isn't, wow, Joseph folds there. I guess he is short. He's got 20 blinds. How much did Kerry open to?
1.2K.
I think that's a call.
Yeah, I think so too. But as we see, Joseph doesn't really agree with us as far as calling out of the big blind.
You're right. He's clearly playing a different strategy than we would play. That's fair enough. This can work. This can definitely work too. He's going to wait for better spots. And so far that's worked out.
It has.
In that he's still alive. Anyway.
He's outlasted the Action Aaron and the Terminator.
Yeah, of course, outlasting those 2 guys gets you nothing except, a warm embrace from your loved ones.
It increases your chances of winning.
Yeah, of course.
Every player you outlast.
Another thing that increases your chance of winning is having chips in front of you, having more chips in front of you.
You know what? I don't know if that's been proven.
Digital Dan with 8-3 on the button. Once again, Digital Dan not seeing a lot to play with lately. Joseph, interesting spot here. He could do a lot of things. He could.
He's just gonna put them all in.
That's reasonable.
Let the chips fall where. Ooh, Kerry might call. No, it's too much. It's just too much. 10K is too much.
Yep. That's one of the reasons why it's reasonable. You can fold out better hands. You block a king. Can't really get called by worse, but some of the hands that call you, you're in flips against.
Yeah, ace jack hands like that.
Sure. I was thinking like ace 5, but sure. I'm not really flipping against ace jack, but.
Well, I mean, you're doing okay.
Yeah. You're doing okay. You're like 40% against
Yeah.
a hand like ace jack, which is fine. With the antes in there too, I think it's really fine just to do that. Also, if you look, Joseph makes a normal raise. Kerry might just move him in.
I imagine he would.
Joseph's going to fold, so that's a big swing for Joseph to be able to buy the move in rather than not moving in there.
One way to avoid tough decisions in poker is just to move all in.
Yeah.
500 blinds deep, just move in. You don't want to think about it. Just move in.
Yep. Digital Dan disagrees with you. He's going to raise it up.
Well, maybe he wants tough decisions.
Oh, that's fair. Jake going to call this for sure.
Almost certainly.
Just making it look like he doesn't know what to do, but he 100% knows what to do, and that's call. There we go. Just trying to, I guess, be balanced with his thinking.
I mean, he's trying to make it look like either I might be folding, I might be 3-betting, and maybe I have like ace jack and I'm considering 3-betting or something like that.
Yeah. Jake checks. This is a pretty straightforward c-bet for Digital Dan, unless he's going to be give us a board-based check.
He's just going to go ahead and win here, looks
Yep.
like. He's betting a bit bigger than we see Jake and Taylor and Kerry c-betting.
2/3 of the pot. Jake is not folded, but now he's folding. Jake takes a little bit of time to fold in spots where I don't know if he really needs to, but maybe he's in sit-and-go mode, and he's always thinking about, can I take advantage of this spot?
Right, he's thinking maybe about that board-based thing you were
Yeah.
talking about. He's supposed to like that board a bit better than Dan is.
Right. So then he's thinking, maybe I can raise and win. Then he thinks, well, Dan sized it kind of big, though.
Yep.
The digital one, often when he sizes big, likely to have a bigger hand. Maybe I shouldn't mess around here. That's probably what went through his head.
Perhaps.
That or what to do, what kind of verbal warm-ups to do with the improv class tomorrow. You know, he's like thinking, you know, is it she sells seashells by the seashore or a rubber baby bubby bumpers?
I would love if you kept going. This is good TV right here.
Or
Kerry with the queen 8 suited. Reasonable open on the button here.
especially now that there's no 10 blind stack in the small blind.
Jake does take his time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think he might. He's got a look
I
of
think
a
he's playing this
3-better.
one.
He looks like he's going to 3-bet.
No, when he nods now, I think he's folding. Oh, I'm wrong.
3-bet.
You
It's
called
like,
it. You called it.
3,500, something like that.
32.
Yeah, you're right. 32.
Yeah, Jake, let's find out what you have, man. Put those cards in the box. Ace 8, yeah.
See, that's a good 3-bet. He understands the situation. He understands that carries the stack at risk. Ace 8 doesn't play well as a call out of the small blind,
Right.
but he does have a blocker to Kerry's big hands.
He knows he's folding if Kerry does anything.
Yeah.
Puts in another aggressive action. Kerry's going to be really wide there, and Kerry's not going to call with most of his opens. Unlike in a cash game,
Right.
or if they're very deep, or even if in level 1 of this event where they're very deep, Kerry may find a call with a hand. Maybe not queen 8 suited, but with a lot of his range.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe even queen 8 suited if they're 100 blinds deep may not be enough for queen 8, but 150, 200 blinds deep is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 100 blinds is fine.
Yeah, I think it probably is.
is. But you don't love it. You hate it. You hate it so much.
Position is powerful.
Yep. But see, Kerry also kind of uncowed here. Oh,
well, yeah, uncowed.
Okay.
He's got aces.
Mitziv moves in. This is bad timing.
Yep.
At least he's suited.
Well, he's going to get called. I'll tell you that much.
He's got straight and flush draws. Kerry calls right away, of course, and
Mitziv has the bad news here. Why can't he have kings? It's so unfair. Well, he flops a deuce.
I mean, we've seen deuces come on the turn before, but not that time, and we're down to just the 2 outs.
And that's going to do it for Mitziv.
And another one bites the dust. People are dropping like, not even flies. They're dropping like flies with disease. Like flies with,
Does it matter what the reason the fly
like
drops
flies with cholera.
is?
What do you mean? They die quicker as a group.
Well, we're down to 5 now.
It happened so fast.
The money is now something that should be in people's minds because 3 players get paid. The third place, as Jonathan mentioned earlier, gets their money back.
It's $1,000. It ain't nothing. Joseph is a pretty short stack, and that should be in these players' mind as well. They're not actually on the bubble, but some of the hands may play a little bit more like they're on the bubble because Joseph's stack is about 20 blinds. Carey just fold King Jack suited?
I thought that was Jake. I think Jake might have just folded King Jack suited. Well, Joseph has been extraordinarily tight.
And Dan folds Queen 6 suited to a normal raise. It seems that all seems a little tight to me.
Dan's kind of short as well.
I guess he is.
Right now it's kind of those guys.
I guess he is.
I mean, there's a little separation.
And we're up to 300, 600 with a 100 ante now. Things are getting pretty serious for Dan and Joseph.
Carey with 41 blinds, still in very comfortable climate.
And he's got a comfortable-looking hand.
Yep, he can definitely call if he wants to a 3-bet from one of the short stacks. Although he may not want to.
Not 13K from Dan.
I mean, an 11K you probably can't really call either. It's just a little too much. Although 5-handed, you start to talk yourself into things, you know?
Joseph folds an ace out of the big blind.
Yeah,
but with
pretty easily.
With his stack, I think that actually makes sense there.
He could fold. He could. I think folding or moving in is better than calling with ace 3.
Yeah, I agree. And moving in is not super comfortable. Even though we are 5-handed, it is Carey's strongest range of the 5-handed range.
If it was the button opening, I think you should probably move in.
Yeah.
Jake's opening. Jake's been opening a lot, too. So I feel pretty comfortable. Actually, with everyone but maybe Digital Dan opening in a late position, I feel comfortable moving in.
The guy was getting 39 to 1 on some sites. I get 33 to 1. I was thinking that'd be bad.
Pretty hand for Taylor in the cutoff.
It's one of those hands you have to open, but you sure hope you don't get shoved on.
Absolutely.
By the 20 blind
and
stacks.
the sit and go format makes Dan fold the 9-7 suited. We would never see him do that in our Poker Time cash game on the button.
We never have.
And it would be unreasonable to fold there.
Yeah. Taylor, by the way, also kind of getting short. He had about 20 blinds as well when he made that raise. So we got 3 stacks right around 20 blinds, and then Carey and Jake.
Yep.
So that'll be an interesting dynamic. We're still a bit off the bubble here. We're 1 off the bubble even being in play. But it's got to start to creep into people's minds here, you know? And so it's possible Carey and Jake will play a little less hands against each other. Or perhaps Jake will start to continue to 3-bet Carey, saying, like, stop trying to steal, buddy. Like, I've got position on you.
Well, it's not going to work this time.
Boy, Carey would love for Jake to put in a raise.
And you see Carey sizing it up because he's going small versus big. I like that. He's at the worst position at the table. He's got a good player with a big stack in the big blind.
Yep.
Make him pay a little bit more if he's going to play. This is a pretty unlucky positional situation for Carey with him and Jake being the big stacks and Jake directly on his left.
Yep. Agreed. However, he does get the opportunity if one of the shorter stacks moves in and Carey has a good but not amazing hand and he decides to play, like he has an ace-queen type hand or, I don't know, 2 9s or something like that, where he can shut Jake out of the pot.
True.
If Jake had moved in first, he'd have to fold those hands.
True. Overall,
it's not going to come up very often.
Overall, though, I think I'd prefer to be on the left.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm just trying to. All right, this is a spot where Joseph has been folding, but
I think
we should
moving
move
in this time. Oh, he's not moving in.
No calling. No calling. Don't call. He called.
He called.
I think Joseph's just a little too short to make this call.
I hope he's not just set mining here. I hope he's going to move in on good flops for him as well.
Yeah. Dan with that kind of hand, though, where it may be hard for Joseph to see what a good flop is for him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the 8 and lower flops are good anyway. He would have known that. But I would often think a jack high board or 10 high board might be pretty good for me as Joseph.
It's a pretty loose under the gun open from Dan with his stack, by the way.
Yeah. Maybe Dan feels like everyone's tightening up a little bit or something. Anyway, this is exactly the kind of flop that Dan can win easily, but he elects not to continue. Joseph looks very suspiciously at him.
Well, yeah, he's wondering why Dan would check that board.
I don't know why Dan would check that board. And Dan is not playing for
Dan
the value
looks like
of his hand.
he's just giving up right now. Well, that's why.
This is crazy.
Is he going to bet now with the 10?
He should. Well, I don't know if he should, but he could have.
Joseph's just going to check back right, and Dan's going to get the win.
I think Joseph absolutely should check back.
They basically had
look at the face. Oh, yeah.
It was like a pre-flop race, except it took a little bit longer.
I'm really surprised the digital one did not bluff on an ace-high board against Joseph. Like, just bet once, man. It's going to work so often.
Now, maybe
Perfect.
I'm wrong because I would have expected Joseph to move in with 2 sevens, but if I was in Dan's seat, I wouldn't think Joseph had too many aces in his range, having not moved in pre-flop.
It's hard to know what Joseph can have there, in fairness. Like, it's hard to come up with much of anything. Maybe like a queen-jack suited, king-queen kind of a hand.
If I were sitting there in Dan's spot, I think I would put him on like 8-9 suited, a hand like that.
Okay. But whatever it is, ace-high board, good for my range. I opened. Like,
Yeah.
I can definitely bet that. And if I get called, I can reevaluate.
And with the way stacks are between the 2 players, he could bet really small on the flop,
Yes.
and it'll have the same effect as a bigger bet.
Absolutely. It's also a pretty dry flop, even though there were 2 hearts out there, I think. Pretty dry. Kerry opening the 8-7. Kerry decides, got to pick up these blinds, man.
Yeah, people are playing tight. It's a pretty hand. If he gets just called, it plays well. If he gets moved in on, he can fold easily.
Digital Dan clicks the fold button. Could have called there, but it's fine to fold that too when he's this short.
Yeah, I think folding's probably. I mean, it's close
It's really close.
against Kerry's hand.
If Kerry's min raising, we're always calling, right?
Probably.
think we
The
are.
antes are 100, so there's a lot out there to
yeah,
win.
we really have to call if he's min raising. He's doing a little bit more than a min raise, but not much. It's close. But it's okay to fold there too. It's okay to make marginal folds in these spots, especially as we get close to the bubble.
I agree. Every chip is valuable.
Yeah.
Let's see if Jake's really opening it up here.
I doubt with Taylor behind him he's going to open up 5-3.
Yeah, Taylor, I think, is not really afraid to just do what he feels is optimal at any given point. He's not going to tighten up too much.
So the digital one could just move Joseph in. Joseph has something like, wow. Joseph has what? Yeah, 16 blinds.
I think that's why Dan folded. He was just worried about getting shoved on.
Well, I'm saying he could move him in.
He could.
I don't think opening is a good idea. I think you should either move him in or fold with that hand. It's okay to fold too. You got 7 high.
Well, the way Joseph's been playing, I think you can limp because the majority of the time Joseph's going to check.
I agree, but why even do that? The way Joseph's been playing, why not raise? I guess you could actually do a normal open.
Yeah,
Joseph hasn't been 3-betting.
I don't like moving in for that reason.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. We could just do a normal 3x, and Joseph's gonna fold so often it doesn't matter. That's what we've seen so far, anyway. But I can understand Dan not wanting to play 7-4 suited out of position when he's relatively short to a normal open.
Sure,
It's not
sure.
crazy. Joseph, this may be the one.
Well, quickly Kerry folds as Joseph moves in.
Yep.
And Kerry had the best hand. Twice in a row that's happened to Kerry. He's folded the best hand against Joseph's
Yep.
move-ins.
This is power fold equity, you know?
Joseph's just living one orbit at a time right now, you know? Pick up a pot each orbit. Hope it works out.
Yep.
Maybe eventually get a double up.
One orbit at a time. Sounds like the diary of a cosmonaut.
The diary of a cosmonaut. Cool.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Are you going to limp?
Wants to see a flop with this hand.
I'd expect Jake is mostly going to check, although... No, he's in sit and go mode for sure. This is great. I like this.
He's taking over. He's trying to take over the game here. Kerry's hand a little bit too good with stacked up to fold.
Yep. Kerry has enough chips to where he can absolutely make this call. It's reasonable.
Great flop for Kerry. Jake flops middle pair.
This is the type of board Jake could reasonably check back.
Kerry could reasonably raise this bet also.
He could.
It
I
is a
wouldn't
bit
expect
high
him to.
variance considering the stacks.
I would expect him just to call.
Looks like it's a call.
Yeah. I figure Jake isn't going to see it coming. By the way, if a 7 comes, it's Armageddon for Jake.
Armageddon. Bruce Willis. Ben Affleck.
Liv Tyler.
Stop. Why?
Steve Buscemi.
No. Just Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck.
The guy from Remember the Titans, the other coach from Remember the Titans, that guy too. Great card for Jake in that Kerry's probably not going to bluff it.
Yeah,
now.
Kerry's probably just going to check. Jake's going to check and hope he's good. Oh,
Kerry's
never
going to
mind.
take a shot. This is a tough story to sell. He's basically repping 2 pair here.
Yeah, he's saying I have Jack 8 or something like
Jack
that.
5,
Because he doesn't usually have an ace. He didn't raise pre-flop.
5-3 suited. Jack. How does he have Jack 5? He called a raise.
Maybe Kerry knows that in his mind he knows he can have ace 8 here. I don't know if you can expect Jake to know that, though.
Kerry can have ace 8. I guess Kerry can have pocket 5s also.
Yeah, sure.
That's about it.
Maybe pocket 3s that he slow played the whole way.
Here's the problem. What is Kerry bluffing with? Kerry called on the flop. Besides 9-10, is there anything else?
Queen 10, King 10. Not King 10. Queen 10. Queen 9.
I guess. I think he's usually going to fold those.
Usually.
In this spot, the way...
Or check raise them, probably.
Really close here for Jake.
I mean, Jake's got a bad hand here. But something sounds a bit fishy to him here.
It's like, why would you bet when the ace comes? Wouldn't you know I'm going to bet? You know I'm going to bet. Why would you bet? That's what he's thinking, right? Like, if I don't have anything, I'm going to be forced to rep this. Now, it turns out Jake wouldn't have bet, right? Because he has a pair. But, yeah,
Jake makes a good call
that
there.
ace was really ended up not being a good card for Kerry at all. Because he couldn't tell a good enough story for Jake to believe. Nice call by Jake. A lot of players are going to fold there, and it's not unreasonable to fold.
Right, but I definitely understand Jake's thought process.
Yep. Jake really putting everything together so far. He's been made a few really good calls. He's made a lot of great 3-bets. He is playing the best of anyone so far. And he's got the chip stack to prove it, but he's playing great.
He's got the resume to prove it, too. He's a pro.
Yep.
He's got a lot of good results in his life.
I think he also did work at Lowe's at one point from like March of 2014 to September of 2014, so that's on the resume too.
He has a lot of 2x4 knowledge, that's for sure.
Yeah. You know, if you need any help with doorknobs, Jake's your guy.
I could use some doorknob help.
Yeah, I mean, most people could. Joseph with a good enough hand that he is going to do a normal open.
Probably not going to fold if somebody moves in, right? You just got to go with it.
I don't know, man. The blinds are only... He's still got 15 blinds back. He's going to fold.
But they're 5-handed, Jonathan.
I understand. I think he's supposed to fold.
But they're 5-handed, Jonathan.
It's not enough for me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Joseph's going to win now. Because he ain't folding anymore. No matter what Taylor does.
You wouldn't think
so. On this flop, Joseph with the tricky check back.
Very tricky. Well, that might get him paid now.
I mean,
if Taylor has to improve for it to get him paid. But
well, Taylor could have taken a shot there, though. He didn't, but he absolutely could have. And now, of course, we got to assume Taylor's going to fold.
That looks kind of like 2 8s or 2 9s to me when Joseph takes that line.
But, I mean, Taylor could decide to make a play at Joseph there and instead fold it instantly. That was sort of interesting. I like that check, though, by Joseph. That was cagey. Like Nicolas Cage.
No, it's a slightly high variance thing to check there compared to betting, but Joseph needs to do that type of thing at this moment to get some more chips.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
There's a lumberjack behind Joseph. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Lumberjack. Even lumberjacks have smartphones, apparently.
Of course they do. That was kind of messed up, man.
Jake. It says Jake folded, but I think it's King Queen, and I think he is not folding. There we go.
I think he's opening the majority of his hands on the button at this point, and King Queen is definitely a pretty good one.
This is a pretty good one. Digital Dan probably. I think he's just going to find another. Oh, no. No, this is a call for him. Okay. 2.5x. It's not unreasonable to call here, even though he's dominated.
No,
completely reasonable.
It's not a hand that plays as well as 7-5 plays, even though it is a better hand.
But it's got, the point is, though, when you make a pair, sometimes you make a pair of kings, which is pretty good.
It's a good hand in poker.
I would expect Jake is going to continue. He's been continuing a lot.
It's a pretty dry board.
He's also just saying,
get out of here.
Yeah, like you have to play tight, right, Digital Dan?
He bet a little bigger than he's been betting. He's trying to get Dan to fold a 3 or a 5, I think, as well as everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Dan's in a tough spot if he has 5-6 here,
Dan seems to be in a tough spot anyway. Is he thinking about making a play?
He has to be.
He also just takes a long time to fold.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, almost always. He takes some time and then throws the cards away.
Better to take your time and get it right than always make snap decisions.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I often, with coaching clients, encourage them to take longer than they feel comfortable with even because they often force themselves to make quick decisions because they feel there's pressure at the table or something. And it's like, no, everyone has to wait for you. It's fine.
That's the
deal.
Make
Make them wait. Do what you need to do. It's fine. Enjoy that, in fact. It's sort of a luxurious thing about poker.
Quite luxurious, yes.
Quite, yes.
King Queen's the hand of the moment. 3 hands in a row we've had a King Queen opener.
It's like a Kardashian. Keeping up with the kings and queens. What? Why are you staring at me?
Yeah. Okay,
this
Joseph
is it.
Must be moving in here, right?
I think this is a move-in. Kerry open under the gun, but as you said, we're 5-handed. He does move in. Kerry insta-folds.
Wow, Kerry insta-folds the King Queen.
I mean, look, if Kerry calls and loses, he's only going to have 4K in front of him.
Yeah, you're right.
He can't. I don't think he can. The only person who can call there is Jake, and I don't even think Jake's probably going to call.
King queen suited. Would you consider it?
I would consider it. 20 blind shoves are a lot to call with king queen.
They are. They are.
They're just a lot.
That said, this prize structure really lends itself to high variance play with 5K for first and second at 2K.
Yeah. That's true. But if you're Kerry, you're sitting there. Kerry probably thinks he's. I mean, there's some good players at this table. Taylor's a pro. Jake's a pro. Kerry is a pro. But Kerry may be sitting there thinking, like, I have a great chance. I don't need to, like, play high variance right now.
Yeah.
I have reasonable. I think Kerry's also very comfortable with his stack size and things like that. He feels like he knows what he's doing in all those spots.
Well, Jake has taken over at this point. After that hero call against Kerry, he's got all the chips.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good.
And this is a nice time where Jake can start to between now and when the bubble bursts, he can really start to put his foot on the accelerator and pick up a lot of blinds and antes and post flop stuff too, where he can just make bets that other people can't really afford to make and make calls that people can't afford to make. He can make the like tough call. A lot of these other guys can't really do it very often because being wrong once kills them.
Right, no meaning to understand.
This is an example where Joseph just feels like, my stack isn't big enough to open on the button here.
Kerry going to limp here, it looks like, with the 9-7 suited.
I was going to say, let's see if Jake raises again. Interesting, he decides not to raise the ace.
Well,
It's
it
a
will
bad
be
ace.
deceptive if an ace comes.
Yeah, but it's an interesting sort of thing. He raised the 8-7, not the ace, and there it is.
He's got the butt low flush draw.
Yes, that's right, the butt low. Kerry bets. Jake's never folding here. He's got...
He could consider raising
To what end?
to say,
He's going to raise.
Yeah.
What do you think is the intention here?
I think he doesn't think Kerry has too many aces with Kerry's stack size. Kerry has to flop 2-pair or a flush to be beating Jake.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing to fold if Kerry, and look at this, Kerry calls. It's a weird thing because Jake's not supposed to have any aces. This is an interesting card. Kerry makes 2-pair.
Yeah, Kerry actually has outs, and Jake has the worst of the flushes. And Kerry misses. Let's see if Kerry decides to bet. He feels his hands a little too good.
Check, check, I guess.
Kerry really can't beat anything when Jake raises there, and then the board runs out the way it did.
Yeah, if Kerry was winning, he wasn't anymore on that card usually because Jake would have had a big flush draw.
I would guess that if Jake hadn't made that call with 8-7 against Kerry, Kerry might be a little more apt to think about bluffing there.
Well, Kerry also doesn't have a stack that's as comfortable to bluff with anymore.
Yeah, but also, like, you think, like, Jake's just going to pick me off. Like, Jake's willing to pick me off. So that's not good. I don't know if Jake would have there because Kerry can have a lot of flushes that beat the deuce of hearts. It would have been an interesting spot. I'm still not sure about that raise, though. Like, Jake may have the best hand, but it's hard to get called. He did, but it's hard. There aren't that many hands that can call him.
I think you can range Kerry as usually having one of the bottom 2 pairs based on him having limped pre-flop.
I mean, he could also have a heart. Right?
He could have a heart,
There were
yeah.
3 hearts,
and
yeah.
so Jake gets to charge one of the hearts. If Kerry has 1 heart, he gets
Yeah.
to the bottom 2 pairs, as we saw, might call because the story is kind of odd. And Jake's under-repped. I think if there's a time to raise just top pair, it's a pretty interesting time to do it.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Here's a board where no one has anything.
Yes. Backdoor straight draw
And
for
Jake
Jake.
is just going to keep firing now. He's just going to say,
This is a good strategy.
yep. And look, everyone's short but Jake now. He's
Especially
basically knocked
considering-
everybody down.
As I was saying earlier, the payout structure lends itself to playing high variance, and if you have a stack like this, it lends itself to you running over the table and trying to put yourself in the best position to win first place.
One of the nice things about when you get a stack this big, too, is you can fire on flops like this, and it just doesn't matter. They call you, and you think, okay, well, I'm going to stop now. And it doesn't matter that you lost that 1.1K or whatever you bet.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Like, you have too many chips anyway. It's fine. But by picking up that pot, you also get everyone in the mentality of, like, yeah, I fold again, you know?
Right.
This hand's a little too bad for Joseph to play.
And Kerry's moving in here, it looks like. Or no, he just made it
Just
1,500.
Here's another spot where Jake can consider the 3-bet, but
He's just going
chooses
to fold.
not to.
Jack 10 suited he folds.
Kerry only has 20 blinds.
I know. It's just...
Jack 10 suited.
That's some pretty extreme discipline. It's a very pretty hand.
I think it's a pretty straightforward fold.
But it's so pretty, Jonathan.
It is pretty. It is pretty. I think that's a raise or fold spot for Jake, and I guess he agreed. Look at that nice Nitrogen Sports. I hope the players haven't forgotten that they win a $100 free sports bet, whoever wins this sit and go.
They won't forget.
Well, someone should make sure they know.
Okay. I think you've made sure.
Well, I mean, are they listening to this? I don't know if they're listening to this. They're there at the table. We're here.
It would be kind of
saying.
unfair if they were listening to this while they were playing.
Well, they could listen to it. We could just not say what the hands are. Should be on top of that.
Jake has Jack 9. Shoot.
And Jake is just This is what you do with the big stack. Jake so far has really put on a clinic, like a big stack clinic.
Yep.
Actually, just a clinic. Period. He's played sort of pristine poker so far. Pretty much every decision's been right.
Is Dan going to move in here? That would be reasonable.
I think he's supposed to move in here, especially with how much Jake is opening.
He's really considering it.
He's really considering it. No, he lets it go. Look, and Joseph could also move in here, although he can call too.
Yeah, he is suited. It's a bit more playable.
Yep.
I think that he just made the fold face.
I mean, is Jake really going to get both? Okay, I was going to say, is he going to get like King 10 suited and Ace 3 suited to fold to a normal raise? Because that would seem to be insane.
There is a definite psychological element that's a little bit more prevalent when you get shorthanded.
Yep.
And
Joseph makes the call.
The vibe of the table is that Jake is just bossing everybody and nobody's messing with him.
Yeah, that is for sure.
So
Well,
decent flop for Jake.
Digital Dan with a flop top pair. I'm sure he's regretting all his actions right now. Jake, I assume, is going to continue. He's trying to run the... Oh, no, interesting.
The board does hit Joseph pretty well.
Sure.
That's a good card for Jake. Now he's open-ended instead of just the gut shot.
Digital Dan's got to be thinking, and I would have picked up the flush draw on top of
Yep.
the 10. Jake's surely going to fire now.
I imagine. Joseph probably would have bet a queen, right?
Or it's... Yeah, maybe not a 10, but a queen. And also, Jake can rep the queen anyway, even if Joseph has a 6 or a 7. It's not an easy spot.
I imagine Joseph would fold a 6 or a 7.
You're not going to love it if you have a 10, but you probably have to call.
Joseph might consider folding a 10 unless he had something else with it.
Yeah. So, like if he has 10-9, he could call. Whoa. Joseph is... I mean, there's no way, right? There's no way. This is just posturing, right?
He looks like he wants to raise.
I don't understand. This would be really surprising.
Now, Joseph is a guy who tries to get physical reads on people, so
that must have been
possible there's something he's picking up on Jake.
He was trying to maybe get something.
Yeah.
It would have been a perfect move in. Jake would have been forced to fold, and he would have been hitting his head that he had bet instead of checked the turn. But instead, just another victory for Jake, who's just... I mean, this guy's like frickin' Tiger Woods in his heyday.
I'm kind of surprised every time he wins a pot, he doesn't kiss his fingers and point to the sky in honor of Terminator. Scarf Corner.
Yeah, Scarf Corner, man.
Always remember Scarf Corner.
I mean, Scarf Corner is still there. Let's be clear. It's still there.
But is the laughter as genuine?
Are the children truly happy? Okay, I think this would be a little much to shove. So I think
he'll
this
probably
is more of a
limp.
call. Yeah.
Gary says, okay, let's hit something with the 5 or the deuce here.
So Joseph has only won one pot this time around too, right? Maybe 2. Joseph flops a gutter.
He might get to win this on a check down if Gary never takes a shot.
I mean, Joseph should probably be betting, but he...
Looks like Carrie's just hoping to hit, and so Joseph might get to win with queen high here.
Surely Carrie's going to bet 5 high. Joseph's never put in any action.
Yeah, and it's going to work.
Carrie bet's super small. I mean, it isn't small, I guess, compared to the size of the pot, but feels so callable.
Not with queen high. I mean, Carrie could have any piece of the board.
I was just thinking if I was Carrie, I might bet a lot bigger to try and force out like some marginal hands.
Yeah.
Like Joseph checked all 3 streets. He usually has something showdownable. I might bet like 3,000.
The way this table's playing, except for Jake, checking all 3 streets doesn't necessarily mean a showdownable hand.
Yeah, you're right. We're really seeing that, and that's surprising, especially where like everyone's life is on the line. Like you can take more shots, for sure. With Terminator gone, all the VPIP stats really kind of caught up with each other there.
Right. We've got to see him increase a little bit as we get shorthanded, though. You would think.
I mean, Jake was at about what 20 some odd percent. Now he's up to 33%.
No, that was Carrie at 33.
Oh, it was Carrie. You're right. It's hard to believe. It feels like Jake's playing almost every hand.
Well, he has been.
Well, here's a hand.
I imagine he'll raise now and never fold, obviously.
Yeah. Let's see how much he raises here. 2,000. It's a pretty reasonable size raise, but Carrie's hand just isn't good enough.
Suited, he would call 10-9 off. We've seen him call with, so maybe it's borderline right there.
Yeah.
He's a bit shorter than he was with 10-9 off, though. That was the hand that cost him a bunch of chips.
You know the feeling, though, when you limp there with Carrie's hand or hand strength, give or take, and you just get raised by the good player, and you're just like, what am I even doing?
Yeah, right.
Like, I should just fold, or I should move in, or like, I'm just giving away extra chips for no reason, even though it turns out Jake had a hand. That's what it feels like so much.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
See, Digital Dan doesn't take time to fold that one. Nice job, Digital Dan.
Queen 8 suited again for Joseph. He's out for this one. How's Jake going to play this one?
Jake against Taylor. He's going to limp it. Maybe he feels like he just can't raise every pot. Although this one would have worked.
Taylor's gotten
Almost
pretty
certainly.
short just by folding a bunch of bad hands in a row.
I mean, yeah.
Jake flops a gut shot.
Jake
Taylor,
has more than half the chips in play.
He does.
We're 5-handed. We started 8-handed. He has more than half the chips in play. That's crazy. There's 96,000 chips in play. He's got 49,000 of them, and a little bit more now.
That's pretty good. It's a good spot.
Everyone is really just like letting Jake do this. Like that may change, but it's interesting to watch. Like you would think Taylor, who's got opportunities to like push back, he really hasn't.
Well, he's not going to take the garbage parts of his range to push back, and he's been getting the garbage parts of his range. I've been in this spot many times where it feels like I'm overfolding, but it's like, am I really just going to move in with Jack 5 off this time because I feel like it?
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen. It's not a good player thing to do.
Speaking of garbage parts of your range, here's Joseph with the 6 deuce off, and into the muck it goes.
Looks like we're up to 400, 800 on the blinds.
Yeah. Everyone is really short now, except for Jake. Yeah, Taylor just moves in with the king high.
And it's going to work.
Digital Dan. No Hollywooding that time.
And that's a significant addition to Taylor's stack right there.
Yeah.
Every pot matters from here on out.
Well, for the short stacks anyway. Look at that. Jake with more than half the chips in play, and number 2, 16 blinds.
Yeah, what a spot for Jake.
Jake has more than 4 times the amount of chips Carrie has. Well, a little less actually, but still, you see my point.
You see this happen sometimes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a perfect analogy, but the World Series last year, Scott Bloomstein came into the final table with what, 40% of the chips in play or something like that.
Yeah. 1,700 in the pot before they even start, before the hand is dealt, and for these guys who are short, which is almost everybody except for this man, the sartorial Jake.
Sartorial doesn't necessarily have any connotation of goodness or badness. It just refers to clothing.
Good.
I think what you mean is sartorial goodness on Jake's
No,
part.
I certainly don't.
Oh, you're just saying he has clothes on?
Have you seen that hat?
I mean, everything is sartorial unless you're naked.
Okay. Are you going to get all vocabulary guy with me now?
Do you want to?
I feel like it's time to throw down vocabulary.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, so
Let's do this.
So you think you should just use the word sartorial to mean well-dressed?
I don't think anything of the sort. I just like using the word.
So say sartorial splendor then.
Sartorial splendor. See,
Doesn't
I
that
did
feel
it.
better?
It does, actually.
Yeah.
It feels quite good. Jake is explaining to the table how he's going to continue to take all their chips.
He's like, and if you want the best scarves, you take the second exit off of Route 19. There is a little hut. It's unmarked. Unmarked hut.
Ask for Giovanni.
Ask for Giovanni. He's dead, but...
That's the only way they'll let you in,
Yeah.
There's a vending machine.
Oh, Joseph just folds the king 9 off, small
Wow.
to big there.
I
think that's a move in.
Yeah, me too. There's a vending machine. You have to go for the Snickers and the Reese's Pieces at the same time. Then the vending machine will slide open. They'll then just walk through, and then you'll have a
Giovanni's
chance.
great-grandson, Gio,
Yeah,
will attend to you.
yeah. Tell him I sent you. 2%
Bring-
discount.
He only takes Roman coins as payment. But damn, look at that scarf.
Yeah, I mean, you won't be sorry.
Position too bad for Taylor to move in there. I imagine
Yeah.
a button or a small blind he was moving in.
Look at these short stacks. And this is one of the things that happens when you're a big stack like Jake. There's a gravitational field around you, and you just pull the chips in.
It's the ultimate tournament spot when
Yeah.
you haven't won the tournament. That's the ultimate tournament spot.
Well,
But
of course, no, but absolutely.
nobody can hurt you. You feel like you're just running
Look
over
at
the
him.
table. Look how happy.
Everyone else looks intense to some degree or another, and Jake is like he's in a disco.
Yeah. He's like, where can I convert my 5K that I'm going to win to Roman coins?
Yeah, I got to get some more of those scarves by Gio. That's what they're called, of course. That's the company. Scarves by Gio.
I mean, if you think Gio has an LLC, you're a crazy person. He operates outside the bounds of the law and even physical law.
Wow, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Physical law. What would be some physical laws that Geo operates outside?
Did Taylor just move in out of the big blind, by the way?
Jake just gave him a walk.
Jake just gave him a walk.
Yeah. This looks like this is going to be the last hand of this episode,
Yeah.
which is good. We still have a few more to come.
They run out of
Down to
ways.
5. A lot going on. Let's see if there's anything interesting that happens here.
Unless Jake knocks everybody out, somebody will grow a stack to be able to contest Jake.
Grow a stack. That's an interesting turn of phrase there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Compliment, I assume.
Joseph with 2 7s.
All right, he's got to move in with this one.
Certainly you'd expect at least a raise of some sort. There's the move in.
There he goes.
Yeah. Kerry has a good hand as well. And he's
It's
clearly,
time to go, I guess. All right, one of these guys,
As you said,
is going to be out or very short.
someone's going to have a real stack, though, to now to fight with Jake as we go into the next episode. Who's going to win the flip?
Got a classic flip here. Let's see how it goes.
Joseph needs to win, otherwise he's out. Kerry will have a little bit left, but not too much. 4 blinds. And
Bad flop for Joseph.
that's going to put a lot of nails in the Joseph grave.
Joseph, you nailing his grave
Well,
or
his
his coffin?
Well,
All right, well, we lose Joseph on the last hand of this episode. Come back next week for the next episode. We'll see if Kerry can start fighting Jake.
yeah, Kerry finally has some chips to play with, but he's going to be out of position. 3 of the 4 players left are pros, too. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out.